So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sad to say that I'm no longer going to be the MC, but I get relaxed. But please give yourselves a big hand for being here, for coming here, and thank you very much for saying that. Thank you, our minister. You are free to depart. It's okay, and so on. For the rest of us, please wait a moment while the minister is escorted. I have an announcement to make. Madam Isabel is escorting the minister, but she's coming back. She's got something to do. But Dronemasters is here, and they are very good. Normally there are books that tell you the things that your parents never tell you, and then you go somewhere and you read about them. So in this case, the things that you never learnt while you were at this symposium, now Dronemasters are going to try and tell us and show us. So there will be an education set up here, which will take roughly about 40 minutes. You're all welcome to stay. If you have to rush somewhere, you can, but I would encourage you to stay and see what Dronemasters is going to do. But before Dronemasters does that, you were very quick. There was something else that was going to happen, and for that, I like your toy, It's okay, eh? Oh, all right, fine. It's going to make it fly. Okay. While we wait for Isabel to come, there's one last action item that she's going to do. That's okay. Okay, fine.
So this was supposed to be an intermission between the closing and them. So I'm not sure how Isabel would like to.
Yes, it is.
Did you announce that there will be they will start shortly with their own session, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's just take our people and.
Go to AD7.
Yeah.
How much time do you need to make that work? Are you ready?
Have something on the screen over there? What's black? Can you ask, please?
To ask
The camera guys.
the camera guys on the screen. Okay. In that case, then. Okay. We may have to give you a microphone. You need to go stand by the microphone for people to hear you when you finish.
Wait, let me look. I have not as working as expected, but that's drone business.
Okay.
Now I have a picture here.
Pa 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 pa. Okay. Breathe.
Let us wait. I like it to have it excited.
What, the machine to be excited or you?
I'm back.
Okay, fine. Can you please go to the microphone and stand over there?
Sure.
Yeah, you don't need your remote or anything of that sort?
No, I cannot talk and fly together.
Oh.
So finally for talking, here's Frank. For me, it's just the introduction.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, so come on up. So Dronemasters is coming on, because they really want to do it now. So I hand it over to you. You can start.
Great.
Over to you, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right.
Hi, my name is Frank. I'm just waiting for the microphone.
Can we have a microphone here, the wireless mic? Microphone for the, there, okay, fine.
So hi, my name is Frank. I'm the founder and CEO of Dronemasters. We are organizing meetups on drones and vertical mobility for about 5 years now, where we bring people together, experts and enthusiasts working with drones around Europe, North America, and since this year also around Africa. We are one of the very proud supporters of this incredible team organizing the ADF. I just can ask you to give them another hand, because we know from organizing conferences how much work that is. That is really incredible. Thank you very much for making this happen, and we are especially thankful that we have the capability and the possibility to talk about education. We had that within the last 3 days quite some times, that we realize how important it is to educate youth and adults about drones. And that is the reason why we're doing this post-conference meetup. And the thing which is very special about that is that I do not know half of the upcoming speakers. So I'm very excited to get to know Rose from She Code. If she would come up to stage, that would be just incredible. Then there is Tom from Korea, from Aeron, if I pronounced that right. We have Lars from Craft Architects, and I just can ask you to stay with us and get a new insight about education and education with drones. And from Tanzania Flying Labs, Lika, if that is rightly pronounced. So I would be very happy to have you already on stage. We're gonna tell you a little bit about what we are doing as a company and why we founded a Dronemasters Junior Academy 3 years ago, and what our experiences are, because that is the purpose of all these meetups and these get-togethers, is to talk about all these ideas. Hi. Great to meet you. Hi. Nice to meet you. And hello. Great to see you. Hi. Perfect. I guess we're gonna get two more chairs. So this is very startup-like. So that's why it's called a post-conference event. So would be great to get, so our mission as a company is to accelerate the evolution of vertical mobility. That is what we are doing now for the last 5 years. To give you an understanding what we are as a company, we are an incubator based in Berlin. We are a company builder, project developer, and there's also a venture company investing in very early stage startups that are some of our current investments. So what we are doing is just to enable the community, to enable the ecosystem, connect them and bring people together. The purpose and why we are doing this and what is driving us is basically because we see drones and aerial robotics as a great tool to solve the challenges of mankind. And we talked a lot about this because I think the group of people which is here, you understand what the possibilities are. So what we discovered is with all new disruptive technologies, we encountered it many times in the last 20 years, that technology is very much faster than business cases, than societal acceptance and regulation and politics. And to solve this challenge, what we started is to connect the fragmented drone ecosystem around the world. So there's a drone industry map where there are more than 1,500 companies around the world, which are located everywhere, and we help them to connect. We have a weekly Dronemasters briefing, which is giving you drone industry insights on every Friday. We organized the very first Drones and Logistics conference in Hanover 4 years ago, and a large manned mobility conference in 2017. And just in the end of last year, we started to publish a matchbook. So all startups out here looking for investors, visit our website. What we are doing is just matching in this PDF young companies looking for funding with an incredible amount of potential investors out there. What brought us together with the African Drone Forum is that we are also developing challenges and competitions. We developed a very first drone marathon for industrial drones, which we conducted inside Berlin. And that was also an event made to learn and what happens if 8 to 9 drones are flying in the center of the city. They are competing. How can aviation authorities regulate this? And we're using sports and many other challenges to inspire for tech developments. And the reason why we are here today is that we are dedicated to inspire vertical pioneers. And what we are doing is that accelerator programs, we founded the Junior Academy, because that's what I just said, education is key to unlock the sky. And what we did, and there are several other ways to educate young people, what we discovered in the last 3 years is that drones and tiny drones, just the tools which you just saw flying around, are great means to inspire for digital education, for aviation, and for everything around STEM. So, and that is why we started this. There were more than 500 kids around. We had in several formats and programs around Germany. We started them, but also in Uganda and in Senegal to test if it works. And what I love about this and about the inclusion of the technology approach is that kids and even adults are everywhere the same. They are fascinated by this technology. And as soon as people start to play with it, they start to discover a whole new world. And they start to understand the potential of digitization and what you can do with it. So what we are doing with the Dronemasters Academy is that we are focusing on juniors and seniors, and we started to develop something what we call playgrounds, because we think it's very important to build local communities. People need places where they can meet and where they can exchange their know-how, where they can ask each other. And that does not have to be a school, it's just more like a tech playground where come together and have fun. And that's what we are here, and what I'm asking, and before I hand over to our next speaker, what we try to do is to develop, and it's what we start now is scaling and by empowering local partners. So we set up a Dronemasters Academy as a social impact business. And we are looking for teaching partners, which we enable to make money basically by teaching others. We are looking for them around Europe, but especially also in Africa. We are looking for technology partners and for content partners. And the last one is pretty interesting. If you are developing courses or workshops, for instance, we are currently working with an artist who is doing an arts and drones class. And that is a very inspiring way to bring arts and technology together and make young people learn about the power of the new technology and STEM. So one last word, we just set up a very basic WhatsApp group. So if you want to stay connected, just join us with that number. And so that was my introduction on this very first Dronemasters meetup. I'm very happy to be here. And now give a big applause to Lars from Craft Architects, who will talk about his energy mobility solar hub.
Thank you, Frank. Actually, thank you for everybody that is still in the room. We emptied out quite a bit. If we would be in a small room, it would be great energy. Bear with us just a little bit. If you could bring on the next presentation, the Craft Energy Hub. I'm an architect. I don't build drones. I'm not a politician. I don't do regulations. I build things. And as an architect, I think if you do your job right, you kind of try and connect the dots. Trying to bring together people and find solutions that maybe other people wouldn't find. So I want to show you something that we have done. And in the end of the presentation, coming back to the mobility and the education space. My firm is called Craft. We started in LA, we're in Berlin, we're also in China. And yeah, usually we build things. We have done a lot of mobility work. This, for example, is a new rollout for an e-station, not a gas station, an e-station for E.ON in Europe. It's very different if you have an e-car and you don't gas it up, you E it up. It takes more time, but it's clean. So they will look very different. It's interesting to work in that kind of field where mobility really changes our behavior. This is a project that we've done for Volocopter. If you've seen Skyport's presentation, you have seen the hub already. This was the first flight of Volocopter in Singapore. And this is actually our design that we developed with Volocopter in Singapore for this first flight. Again, this is maybe a more luxurious way of transportation. It is in the first world, it will be in the dense cities, and it will look different. But I want to talk about a very general issue. I want to talk about energy. You see the world at night, you all have seen that image. Wherever you see light, you see electricity. Where you see darkness, you see no access to electricity, but there are still people. Actually, a lot of people. You know, in these dark places, people want to have energy. There's a hunger for energy, because without energy, there's no development. And we're talking about a lot of people here. We're talking about, well, 16 to 20% of the world population. That is a lot. And mainly in Africa. Also in South America and Southeast Asia, but mainly in Africa. So what are we going to do about it? People want energy, and they're paying a lot of money for it. In fact, they pay much more for their energy than any of us. Any of us in the first world, we pay less. Why? Because fossil fuels are so expensive to get there, right? It's a little bit obscene. So you could see that as a huge problem, or you could see it as an opportunity. We're talking about $30 billion a year in that energy sector in off-grid areas. That is a lot of money. Now, if you would have a source that would give you energy and make it profitable, usable, harnessed for the people, that would be interesting. And luckily enough, the sun is shining exactly in these areas. And in the moment where the inflection point was there, photovoltaic became cheap enough to create new businesses, we started to think about energy and architecture. We created the Energy Hub. So think of a little hub that sells goods, fast-moving consumer goods, flour, rice, but also medicine, cold drinks, that sells solar products. It sells little torches with a panel and a battery up to a home system, and it sells energy ideas. We have light, we have entertainment, we can cool things if it's a drink or if it's medicine at the hub. We have internet, so we have banking facilities. We become a bank. We sell phones, we charge the phone. We sell energy to other people around us, like a barber that needs a machine to cut African hair. And you can do that with light and music when people come back from the fields. So this energy hub we have developed, and you really see the full potential, not at day, but at night. You exactly know what this thing is doing, because with reliable energy you can do anything, and people will flock to it. In fact, we have done a lot of kiosks in order to enable and empower the people that use it. We don't sell it, we partner with people, we train the people what energy means and how to sell things. So we bring jobs. And we have done that with the system that can go anywhere. That's not a container, because a container is on-grid, always. That's an off-grid thing that can be erected easily, that is durable, sustainable, and easy to bring to remote places, even with a donkey if you have to. These were the first kiosks that we've done in Ethiopia. This is a kiosk in Kenya. This is the kiosk at night in Kenya. So we built a company for the people that need design, they need good design. You know, there's dignity in good design, and that is basic partnership on eye level. We are now in 6 sub-Saharan countries. We are in Rwanda. In Rwanda, actually, we have the biggest fleet of these energy hubs. 75 are in the country. This is here we call it the Eco Center, because we partnered with Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola opened this market center. Here you see not only the e-hub, you see 4 canopies with more power. So we actually, this is an image photograph taken from an Ericsson telecommunication mast, which we power. And this is President Kagame, who's opening it with the CEO of Coca-Cola, Mukta Kent. And in the background, on the left side, you see Every Murasa, our CEO here in Rwanda, who is sitting here in the audience. So this we have done. We have built over 200 kiosks in many, many places and created jobs, over 1,000 jobs. Now, if you bring this together with education, not only about the solar world, you know what a solar means? Energy illiteracy means a lot. So value systems around having efficient energy thoughts and creating jobs, that's what we are interested in. If you bring education to the place, you can do many other things. And these are just some examples of where this platform can go. Me as a CTO of the company, I wanted this also to be something that works in refugee camps. So this is the same system that brings energy and connectivity to refugee camps, where you have some energy, but it's unreliable, it's expensive, and it's not always there. Here in Jordan, that's the biggest refugee camp there, we built the school in order to provide light, tablets, access to information, that's the main thing, and hence the school can actually double the amount of people that they're training, and the kids. This is when we opened this a couple of years ago. The next thing is clinics. So you can apply this to health as well. Because yes, it is a big problem to bring things to off-grid areas, but once they're there, you still have to manage them. And you don't have health centers everywhere. You need more, much more. And they need the same thing. They need connectivity and they need energy. Reliable and autonomous. This is in Al-Mafraq, also in Jordan, and we built 5 more clinics in Kutupalong. This is in Bangladesh. This is the Rohingya camp, the biggest refugee camp in the world, where we've built 5 clinics. So to make this round, now I'm coming to mobility, and there it becomes really exciting because we have struggled with this business plan. This is social enterprise, meaning we have to make money with this, with our partner, in order to survive. We're not funded by the UN or something. We actually have to make money. And that's the whole idea. You bring entrepreneurship to the equation. We train people in order to work for their lives and make a living. And it works with energy. It works better with education. What is really tricky in off-grid areas, and we had 3 days to talk about this, is the mobility. How do you get things to our kiosks? Here in Rwanda, it's a small country and it's still very difficult. And it's very expensive. In places like Ethiopia, where you have hundreds of miles of dirt road to get to places, it's becoming a real problem. So we know it, and that's why this totally makes sense for us. So we thought, and you have seen that too, if you have the power of telecommunication, where we are in off-grid areas, everybody has a phone. Now we provide the energy for the phone, right? And it works. Why can't we do the same thing with education and mobility? So what we are proposing is to extend what we already have, create a drone school, basically, an e-mobility hub that now is not only possible to work in the retail sector, to bring affordable, clean energy to off-grid Africa, but educate the community there on what drone business really is, what solar systems really are, and become a mobility hub, meaning that thing could, because it is connected and have energy, it would be a safe hub for any mobility company that wants to get to places. And it becomes really interesting, not only if you train the population there. Let's just take Rwanda with 75 mobility hubs. You can create a network amongst all these. You can fly from hub to hub, basically. If it's with medicine, if it's with mobility things, if it's with solar things, that really then can become a real ecosystem that supports itself. So that's basically why I'm here, and I'm really excited to see that everything we thought about this totally makes sense. And that was my little speech. Thank you so much for staying.
Thank you very much, Lars. I'm going to continue pretty much because you have to leave at 6:30 to get your flight. If it's, you have a 10 minutes presentation, is that right?
Yes, less than 10 minutes.
That's perfect. So I would stay in line because otherwise the technical switching is a little bit too much. And I hand it over to you and to talk to us.
I don't think I have even a presentation, no? So I'll just, good evening. So a lot of you saw me pitching about drones yesterday and you're wondering, what is she doing here? So a little bit about my background is that I'm an engineer, and in my high school and also during my university, I was one of the 2 girls in class. So 2014, I decided, I and one of my co-founders, to start an organization which is a social enterprise called She Codes for Change, where we inspire girls to take up STEM careers. So we've done a lot since 2014. And we've inspired, I think, almost 1,800 girls within Tanzania, but then we've also done courses at AU with ITU and UN Women. We've also conducted courses in Pretoria in South Africa. And from time to time, I'm in class teaching those courses. The approach that we've taken is an approach that use simple blocks in a way that when they do coding, it's fun. They see what is happening. So one of the language that we use is called Scratch. It's very easy, and it has immediate results. So you see that, I'll give you an example of camps that we do. So we'll do a camp for 3 days. And in day one, we take a kid that has never seen a computer before. We introduce them to the computer, we introduce them to Scratch, and by day 3, they're able to actually code something and tell you how it works. So that's what we do. And during this conference, meeting Dronemasters and meeting one of actually the winner, the Global Heirs, I see that there's a lot of opportunities to combine this. So I see Dronemasters, because you code, I'm sure there's also Scratch that is involved in coding, and then you see immediate results. So that one is a door opener to kids. So we deal with 13 to 19 years old girls. Those are the ones that we teach coding. So I'm interested from that angle. But then I'm also interested, the last speaker just spoke about employability, entrepreneurship. I'm also interested in that angle. So how do you, once you inspire them, then what happens? So being able to combine that and for them to sort of churn out a career path for girls. And this year, I'm happy to say that we are already doing projects. This year we're doing 10 schools, 5 in Dar es Salaam, 5 in Tanga. We're going to work with, I think, around 50 students for each schools. So we have 500 500 students that will be teaching this year. And we're planning a summit in December. So probably that will be an angle of collaboration. And yeah, so that's my pitch. Happy to be here. I'm also running off to the airport. So thank you, guys. Thanks. I'll be in touch.
Thank you so much. We don't want to have anybody missing the airplane, so please, Tom.
Thank you, Frank. I'm happy to see you guys. No. I'm sorry, I didn't bring any presentation. Sorry, but I'm here to talk more about Korea, because I think that you guys don't really know about South Korea and what's the regulations, the laws of drone licensed pilots and what they're doing, how is the education ecosystem, industry is going. So first, 2017, I started to learn to become a drone pilot in Korea, and we had about 5,000 pilots in Korea, and I became a instructor in 2018, and I thought about 6,000 students till now. So we have about 20K drone pilots in Korea right now. But the regulations are you have to have the licensed pilot to fly above 12 kilograms. And if you want to do like a business, like filming, in agricultural areas, like police patrol areas, you need to have the license to, to use it commercially. So I'm here to tell you what curriculums are available in Korea. So I am a professor in Institute of Police in Korea. So I teach how to survey, patrol, and I research what's the best pattern for a drone to patrol mountains, shore, lakes, inner cities, like that. And I teach them how to film, and I teach them how to analyze the infrared cameras when a person's missing. So we have a training school in Korea, and it's located in agriculture university. So obviously we teach the students who's in who's schooling. So we teach them how to spray pesticides. We teach them what types of pesticides there are. And obviously in Africa, I haven't thought of spraying malaria, pesticides for malaria. And I think the education, for patrol and agricultural business, I see a lot of potential in Korea as well, and I hope Africa continent has the same way of the technology, because in Korea we started a lot more to education. So we have about 600 schools in Korea, and we only have like 2,000 drone pilots actually getting the license every month. So that's a lot of schools than students. So yeah, and I think education is very important to, to notice the danger of multi-rotors, fixed wing, and VTOL, and to think about the technology, what drones are possible in the world. So I'm running out of time for airport as well. So thank you again for ADF and Frank for having this opportunity to come here to talk about license regulations in South Korea. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a good flight back home. Thank you. See you. Probably next ADF 2021. So last but not least, now we're gonna hear something about the Tanzania flying rep. Am I right?
That is correct. You're going to hear about the Tanzania Flying Labs. You're going to hear about our SteamBots program. I am the guy, again, who always says it's not about the drone, and I keep hammering that point home all the time. Really, when it comes to most of the projects concerning drones, for us, it's about the data that you're able to capture using drones. It's 90% data, it's 10% drones. And I'd like to show an example of that through this video. Can we play that?
Ni jambo la busara na ni jambo la muhimu sana tuwaandae vijana wetu na ulimwengu ambao watakuukuta katika hii awamu ambayo tunasema ni fourth industrial revolution. Maana yake ni kwamba vitu vitakuwa ni automated. Kwa hiyo leo tulikuwa tunawaelezea hawa vijana kuhusu nature conservation, yani utunzaji wa hifadhi, na zaidi tulikuwa tunaonyesha jinsi teknolojia ya ndege nyuki inavyoweza kutumika kuhesabu wanyama ambao wako hatarini, tunasema endangered species. Kwa hiyo tunaonyesha mfano kwamba wanasayansi au wale park rangers wanaweza kutumia drone technology kuwahesabu hawa wanyama na pia kujaribu kudetect majangili na mambo kama hayo.
Okay, there was an English version of that video. Excuses for that. But the point was, what you saw there is a theme. We always try to introduce a theme behind all the STEM work that we do with the kids. In that case, it happened to be about marine conservation. So it's really what we're trying to do is, as far as this inspiring term or word is concerned, is to really show these kids the day in the life of a marine biologist. Another time, we can do something like a day in the life of a geospatial scientist, a day in the life of a doctor, maybe in a rural hospital, who needs to deliver or receive essential medicines. The idea, again, is to really, as far as I'm concerned, from having done a number of these sessions, is to just show that the drone is just a tool, right? What you're really trying to inspire them to do is to think about the career. Like, these are just tools that you can use for your career. So something that I've been missing, something that I am struggling to do at the moment, having run a number of these sessions, is to scale. And admittedly, I have to say, when it comes to these STEM initiatives that we do, I might have been taking the wrong approach, because for our other projects, we always do what we call co-creation workshops. You know, we sit down with stakeholders first and find out from them. So for example, if it's people in the conservation area, we sit down with experts who, you know, the professionals in the conservation scene, and we find out what they do and how they do it. And then we ask them, how do they think drones can help them with what they're currently doing? In retrospect, I think this is the best way also to approach this STEM subject, because we talk about inspiration, you know, we talk about, sometimes we have initiatives where we focus on girls. Then again, I noticed that when we do mixed classes with girls and boys, there's kind of a competition there. In some other scenarios, you have girls who kind of take a back seat. In other scenarios, you have girls who take a front seat. But I haven't really, you know, really nailed exactly, you know, gauged exactly what the most effective methodology is in terms of reaching out to these kids. And it's really cool to meet Dronemasters and perhaps be part of this drone academy. And actually, I do definitely believe that tinkering, being able to actually assemble the drones is also going to be very helpful, but also learn from you guys how you go about it and how you monitor and evaluate your work as well. So really looking forward to a discussion around that. Okay.
Thank you very much, Liko. Liko is right? Liko. We were just briefly discussing, I hope that is fine with everybody, because we are at the very, very, very end of the ADF, and I thank you all very much that you attended this Dronemasters meetup on education, that we just come around here. What Meetup is all about is to talk to each other, and that we are not doing it from stage to the audience and back. Then if you're interested to talk and get feedback and to mingle and network, you're invited to do that right here, right now. Probably you can even fly with Branko a little short trip with his drone. I thank you once more. I hope that we're gonna see each other even before the next upcoming ADF 2021, which I do hope it will happen somewhere on this fantastic continent. Thank you once more. Thanks all to the speakers, to both who had to leave due to their time constraints. Just another applause, and then I wish you all a good way home. And yeah, see you again next time, same place.